Hi everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson's Soapery. Today, let's get into a video all about making soap. Today, I'm going to be making a beautiful soap that is a real earthy type tone, and I'm going to be making this in mostly a dark color. So let's get going and we'll start to get everything ready. So I do have my bucket on top of the scale, as you can see here, because we need to measure absolutely everything out. So I'm going to be doing the heat transfer method. So here is my gorgeous shea inside the bucket here. So I'm using an unrefined shea butter. Sometimes it does have a little bit of a nutty scent that sometimes people don't like the nutty scent a lot, but I don't mind it and I really don't notice it too much. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to be popping it all into the bucket. I will actually give you the recipe. The recipe will actually be down below in the description box. Lately, I've actually had lots and lots of people asking me or saying they can't actually find the recipe. So for anyone watching, just to let you know, I usually don't put the recipe on the screen bit that you're watching. You just need to click down in the description box below, and then you'll actually see the recipe and links to my website and all of my social medias if you want to join us over there and see exactly what I'm doing and all my different social medias, and that way that's how you'll know exactly what I'm doing and different bits and pieces, because I just don't like to put the words on the screen and clog up the screen. This way you guys can watch me and it's nice and easy, and I do always give you a recipe. If there's ever not one in there, just go back on a couple videos and you will definitely see it. So like I said, to start with, I definitely do have my shea butter sitting here in the bucket, and now I'm just going off screen just a tiny bit because I need to organize everything else. So the next thing I'm going to be popping in here is my coconut oil. I actually keep mine in massive big drums that sit behind the bench and down the side of the studio. So I just do need to measure these up, and usually to give you a bit of an idea if you're trying to create your own recipe, what I actually do is I have equal parts of shea butter, coconut oil, and then cocoa butter. That is the main part that I do. Sometimes I'll use a palm oil, but I'm definitely going away from palm. Even though it was a certified palm, I just think, you know, look, just getting away from that, it helps my customers that might be vegan as well, and they may not also like palm. So that way I'm just trying to keep it as close to vegan as I can and also palm free. So as you can see, I'm just popping all of my little bits in here, and then I would just get the last bit of the hard butters to pop in here. And as most of you should know, as you can see, it looks like hard form, and that way you know that this is actually a hard butter. Because I actually do the transfer method with mine, the heat transfer method, and all that is mixing up your lye and water first, and once that is all dissolved and the lye is totally dissolved, then we actually pop it straight back in with the butters. So that's what I'm actually doing at the moment. So I'll get everything ready and I'll be back in just a moment. So now we're starting the heat transfer method here, and what I'm first doing is adding my distilled water. So like I said, I do have the recipe which will be down below, and that will show you the equal amounts that you need to pop in of obviously the distilled water and then the lye that I'm actually going to be popping in just a moment. So make sure you measure everything up, and when you're making the lye that you can see I'm doing here, which is the water and sodium hydroxide, you do need to be exact with the sodium hydroxide. So with this particular one, what I'm actually doing is using a reduction in water, and the reason you would do that is just to keep your bar a little bit harder, and also it would just cure much harder because it doesn't have to evaporate all the extra waters in it. And you can actually do this of a reduction on all different amounts. So this one here, I've reduced the water to 40% less than what Soap Calc tells me I can do it. You never make sure, sorry, one thing I was going to say is make sure that you never reduce the water more than the amount of lye. So if you have 200 grams of lye, you want to have 200 grams or more of water. So that's just an easy way to think about it, because it's much easier to understand that kind of bit as well. But this video is not all about reducing the water. It's more about, like I said, showing you how I'm making this soap. And like you can see here, I'm just stirring here. Stand away from it. Never put your face over the top because there are lots of fumes that come off lye and it's extremely hot. I do have gloves on, so you do need to make sure that you are wearing gloves when you are doing anything like this as well. It is really vitally important that you protect yourself as well. And another thing to also think about is, wearing goggles and a mask and making sure you're in a ventilated area. I am actually in a ventilated area here with massive big double doors that are left open when I'm doing anything like lye. And just make sure that you've totally and utterly dissolved all the lye. Now I'm just going to pour it straight on top here of my butters, and then what I'm going to do is just keep mixing these butters, and the hot heat from the lye will actually help to melt the butters, and then that way what it does is cut out the waiting time of waiting for your waters and your lye to reach the same temperature that you would normally do just at a normal sort of fresh liquid way of doing it. This way, like I said, is the heat transfer method. If you want to at this particular time, if you had something such as coffee or whatever, you might want to put that in here, although this will get to a hot temperature, but it just depends on what you want to pop in here. If you want to put some titanium or something to make it white, you could definitely do that as well. But usually this bit is just to literally mix up all of the butters, and you do need to keep going until they are 100% mixed up and there's no lumps or bumps left. So I'm just continuing doing my lye, as you can see here, and it is looking quite smooth at the moment. So now this is when I'm going off to get all my other oils that I need to pop into my recipe. You can change your recipes quite a lot. Even if I give you a recipe, you can still go back onto Soap Calc and change, oils. If you want to use a sunflower oil rather than olive or rice bran or, any other oil or avocado. There's so many different oils and they all have different benefits that you can change them, but you do need to pop it back through Soap Kelp. But for me, my normal recipe is cocoa butter, a coconut oil, olive oil, shea butter, of course, and then I usually do put a sweet almond oil, some castor oil as well usually goes into my recipe, and of course you need your fragrance oil or essential oil blend, whatever you're going to do. But if you're using an essential oil, remember it is not the same amounts as fragrance oil. It's usually only 1 to 3% that you're going to be using in an essential oil because they are concentrated oils. But do make sure you look up that and all the legal legalities around popping them in and the warnings that you might need to pop on. So now you can see that I just do have all of my buckets and things here ready to pop in the oil. So the oils that I actually use, I keep in massive big drums. So the sweet almond oil in particular, I actually do buy that in a 20-litre drum. So if you're making lots and lots of soap, you definitely want to be getting these in massive big drums. It saves so much money. It's honestly like about 60% cheaper when you're buying in bulk. And I know that is really hard and it's hard to do. And you can also see the olive oil that I'm using. This one I do buy from my local shopping centre, but in the future I will start buying this in massive big drums, because when you get it from the shopping centre, sometimes it's been sitting there for months, but we just don't know that. So, and then that means you're buying older oil and you're more likely to get some orange spots on your soap. And it's fine to use, but it just doesn't look gorgeous if you're selling it online. But, I've not really had a lot of problems with that, and that's actually called DOS. But anyway, like I said, we've got everything in here now, haven't we? The last thing to pop in, I think this is the last, this is sodium lactate. And all I pop in is 1 capful, which is, it's 1.5 tablespoons into my mixture of a 2 kilogram mixture. And then all that does is it just helps it to release from a silicone mold easy, and it also hardens up the bar because it is a salt derived product. And if you don't have that, you can also have salt as well. You can dilute some salt. You can even pop it into your lye, and that way it will actually help harden up your bar and so on. So, and of course you can see me just popping in the kaolin clay. If you actually pop in the kaolin clay directly into your fragrance oil or essential oil, it will actually just help it to hold all of the fragrance just a little bit better, and that way, you know, the scent won't go away so much in soap. When I first started making soap, these were all tricks and tips that I really didn't know, but you just kind of learn as you go along. Other people tell you things and then you learn things yourself. So that's how I've learnt lots of these little tips and tricks anyway. And to the side, I'm just going to be adding, I've just kept a little containers over to the side because I actually do need to change those into different colours. And then the main mixture that I'm doing is black. So to get the black, I've actually added activated charcoal. Do make sure you wear a mask with activated charcoal, or really, really gently pop the charcoal in as well. And don't go putting in heaps and heaps of activated charcoal because it does stain and it does make a really big mess. So you don't want somebody having a bar of soap and black goes everywhere, because they really won't be happy with you at all if you do that. But anyway, now I'm just popping in most of my fragrance. Like I said, this one is like a moss kind of fragrance. I've also got some sandalwood in this as well, which is really nice, and a little bit of vanilla. So when I actually make mine, I never put one particular fragrance. I usually blend several fragrances, and that way it will become more of what I actually want and make my products a little bit more unique to other products on the market, because it's really good to make your product just be a little more unique. So now what I'm doing here is I do have this little cross that my husband made, and that way you can actually put your mold in it and you can put it sideways, because I want to have this beautiful gold mica line in this particular soap, and I just wanted to keep this one this way. So it's going to sit sideways, like I said, in here. And once I'm just going to dust it off with this little gold flake of glitter. It's biodegradable glitter, and the little pump that you can see that I'm using, I actually got that from Heirloom in Australia. So I think that's heirloom.com.au. So just go over there and you can see them. But you can get them on lots of things. If you're in the US, I'm sure Brambleberry and all of those other ones will have them as well. And there's many other companies that also stock them. But it is really good because you don't use too much mica as well. So after I've done that, then I'm just putting another layer of this activated charcoal. And a tip for any of you, when you're using sandalwood does set up really fast, so you do have to be fast and have everything pre-set up. And last but not least, of course, I'm just adding a purple mica line on the top, because that's what this particular customer wanted. They wanted a series of these different colors and to see what they thought. And sometimes I'll actually do sort of custom made ones for customers if they want. I really don't mind. I'm happy to sort of help out and do these kind of things as well. And then on the top, I'm just adding, the last little bits of the activated charcoal mixture. And I know I'm making an absolute big mess here, but you know what? Like I said, this is only a testing one. And then from there, I'll decide what I'm going to do. I will be doing lots more testing because I'm doing a line of wholesale soaps that will be going on my website pretty soon. I think actually I've popped most of them on the website, but we're still getting through a mix of them. So then they'll all be ready by mid-October. For anyone that wants to buy wholesale, they can literally just buy them and they'll come in a big log. So it's nice and easy, and it's really, really affordable. It's a little bit less than half price of our retail. So, it's really great if you've got a shop, and that way you can easily sell them off yourself. So I don't mind, they're all on the website if anyone wants to take a look at that. That's no problem. And here all I'm doing is just sculpting it however I want. I mean, just choose however you want to, make your bars look. But, just adding a little bit of texture on the top is what most shops want. So if you're doing, wholesale, a lot of shops don't want it super fancy, but they just want that nice, textured top, which shows people that these are handmade, because that's usually what people are wanting, is like a handmade sort of product as well. And of course here, typical me, messy. I thought, let's get going. I definitely need to clean this up, don't I? So I'm just popping it back onto the stand, and usually what I do is pop it onto the stand and then I can mix any extras that I need to. And I do have these other colours here, and I just wanted to do a line of purple and also a line of gold, because if you just do a line on either side, what actually happens is when you're texturing it with a spoon, you're sort of dragging that purple or dragging that gold back through the actual soap, and it just gives it a little bit of a point of difference as well. The gold that I've got here, I think I actually bought this from Aussie Candle Supplies about 2 years ago, and I'm almost out, and sadly I actually don't remember the name of it. I keep saying Aztec gold, and it might be, but I just haven't seen this rich gold anymore. But I do use another one now from Sud Off in Australia, which is just a gold, and it's still really nice. It just isn't as vibrant as this one, but I'm almost out of this gold, which is going to be sad when I have finished it all up. But now I thought, look, I have to get in and just give these ones a quick blend. You can mix it by hand once you put the fragrance, but you know, I always think the colors and everything mixes much better when we can actually, you know, just stick blend it again. So you'll see I'm just putting these along the edge just so that I can move all of the soap and just give a really gorgeous texture. Also with the activated charcoal, you would have seen that one also set up fast. So the combination of sandalwood and activated charcoal definitely makes this one set up much faster. But of course, the purple and gold didn't have the activated charcoal, so then that's why that one would not have set up as fast as the main black color. But anyway, hopefully I've explained enough of that so that you can understand why I actually do a line and then pop it all together. But anyway, it really has come along so nice, and I will actually show you at the end how it looks, because it does look a bit gorgeous. But for now, this is it, and don't forget to spray all of your soaps when you finish them with isopropyl. And now I'm just using a chopstick just to, you know, a skewer or something, just to give it a bit more pattern. I should have stopped, but I just couldn't help myself. But yeah, if you actually spray them with isopropyl, the good thing at the end is what that actually does is it tries to limit, you know, the frosting and things that you're going to get on the top of it. But, you know, don't sort of worry too much about it. But it does just try and help eliminate a little bit of those problems at the end. But anyway, I'll let you watch this little bit and I'll come back in a moment. So here I am doing the last little finishing touches, and seriously, someone needs to tell me to stop. I mean, I actually cannot help myself. I come back and forward so many times, and I should have said, that's enough, Rhonda, no more. But anyway, I did put a little bit more of a shimmer of gold glitter on the top, just why it sort of does its little bit. And now I just go off because I decided to add some more biodegradable glitter on the top. See what I mean? I tell you, I seriously cannot stop, because I just always think of another thing that can go on the top. But, you know, if you're making this for wholesale, you do have to remember that everything you put on the top just adds more and more money onto the soap that you do need to charge for. And wholesale, no one wants to pay $6 for a wholesale bar. They seriously only want to pay, you know, $4, $5 or something like that at the very most, so they can make money on the soaps as well. So you do have to take that into consideration, that someone else has to add their little piece on the end to make money. But anyway, this will have to sit here for a day or so, just to give it a little bit of time to harden up so that I can get it out of this little sample mold. This isn't my normal mold. These ones are really just for samples. But anyway, it's all done now, and I mean, it does look really cute. Like I said, I just kept going back and forwards. I wasn't sure if I loved the swirl on the top, because this was more of a, I guess, a masculine type soap. So I did end up taking that out and just leaving it plain. But now you can see this is the end result with the purple mica line and then the gold mica line at the bottom. And I think it's turned out really gorgeous. Anyway, make sure you give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.